Okay, here's our video on order of operations. Make sure you write these down. Write down your title, write down the learning target. Title goes in the top of your sheet of paper. Learning target's first line. This is our order of operations, that's our title. And our learning target is students can solve real-world problems following order of operations. So make sure you write down the learning target on your first line. If you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm moving on to my next slide. Okay, here are the order of operations. Again, make sure that you write these down. First, we have grouping symbols. That includes parentheses, brackets. Fraction bars would also be considered grouping symbols. So there's a lot of different types of grouping symbols. But anything that groups numbers together, you're always going to work in those groups first. Second, you can do any exponents. So if we have any exponents, we do that next. Third, we're going to do multiplication or division. And it's key that you write down or. Okay, it's whichever comes first, left to right. A lot of people think it's multiplication first, then division. They are equal. So you have to work left to right in whichever one comes first. And then fourth is addition or subtraction. It's the same rule. It's whatever comes first, left to right. Okay, so if subtraction comes before addition, you would subtract before you add. And that's something that you need to know and understand. Okay, so make sure you write those down. If you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll be moving into our first example. Okay, example 1, evaluate the expression. Okay, I'm just going to go through my steps right here. Okay, first I have parentheses, so I'm going to do that first. So it's just going to be 8 times 17 minus 12 is 5. Remember that parentheses stand for multiplication. So I have 8 times 5. That's my next step. And that is 40. Okay, so I did my parentheses first, and then I did my multiplication second, and I got 40 as my answer. Yes, you do need to show work when you are working on these problems, so I can see to make sure that you're going through the right thought process on these problems. Okay? If you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll be moving on to our next example. All right, example B, we're still evaluating the expression. Here's a fraction bar. A fraction bar stands for division. Okay, and it's also a grouping symbol. So I'm going to do everything in the numerator first, everything in the denominator, then I will divide. It'll be my last step. Okay, so 14 plus 6 is 20, so that would be 20. My fraction bar divided by 12 minus 7 is 5. 20 divided by 5 equals 4, so my final answer is 4. Okay, so I did my grouping first, and inside of my grouping I did my addition on top, I did my subtraction on the bottom. Once I had those results, then I divided 20 by 5 to get my final answer. Okay, if you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll move on to my last example. Alright, evaluating variable expressions. So in this case, we have to substitute in for our variable. Yes, you have to show that step. So the first thing I'm going to do is substitute. 4, and then my parentheses, 2 plus 5 squared. So the first thing you have to do is substitute. Okay? Before you even get to your order of operations. Now I can work through my order of operations. I'm going to do grouping symbols first. So that's going to be 4 times 7 squared. Next is exponents. So I'm not going to do 4 times 7. I'm going to do 7 squared next. Okay, so that's going to be 4 times 7 squared is 49. 7 times 7. Okay, then I'm going to do 4 times 49, which is going to be 196. And that is my final answer. And I am done. Okay? If you need to pause, rewind, go back and watch any section again, go ahead. Otherwise, have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow.